Buonasera a tutti. Welcome everybody. Happy Women's Day. Buona festa della donna. Spero che il fiore sia piaciuto, insomma, l'avete tutti in mano. Ci sarà un buonissimo profumo qui a breve. The ICFF has always been committed to representing a strong, united community. Called The Shot is an annual event that through film celebrates and honor women's achievement in thought, leadership, and action. Above all, through this event, the ICFF will champion women's ideas because we believe ideas are powerful forces for change. I established Called The Shot in 2018. Again this year, and now more than ever, the project will represent, sustain, and promote the role of women in today's society, in every aspect, every field, every sector. The fact that so many people are here today makes me very happy and, of course, very proud. And that shows that our theme of this year is very important to our community. Tonight's film deals with harassment and brings awareness about this very serious issue. The message is quite strong. Let those responsible be held accountable, and don't be afraid to speak out. But today is International Women's Day, and this is a special day. I want to acknowledge all the men that I see here in our audience. This event involves you all, but in a very positive way. Those who fought in the past with such a force and vigor for women's rights brought about necessary and fundamental changes, paving the way for future generations. But I wonder, is it still necessary to continue this kind of fight? The feminist movement of today's society doesn't have to be a battle of sexes, but a common goal for all of us. Aggression will not help much in today's society. This isn't about men against women. It's about people against prejudice, and everybody needs to get on board. Men and women must collaborate and work harmoniously together. An harmony that within our festival, the ICFF, is always reigns supreme. I'm very proud to be a part of a team that made a men, women, artists, academies, all working together towards a common goal. I want to take a moment to thank a few people without whom this event would not be possible. Our president of the ICFF Board of Directors, Paul Golini, the coordinator of cultural events, Tonia Serrao-Soppelsa, who will be up here shortly moderating tonight's panel discussion. And last but not least, I would like to thank and welcome on stage our co-founders, our managing director, Maurizio Magnifico, and our artistic director, Cristiano De Florentis.
Good evening, everyone. An event such as this would not have been possible without the strong support and collaboration of so many people and organizations. I'm honored to acknowledge those who have helped make this night a success. I'd like to thank our sponsors. IC Savings, you have been an outstanding supporter for the festival since the beginning, becoming our presenting sponsor and enabling us to expand a successful organization across Canada. George Brown, an excellent institution that has been collaborating for many years with the ICFF. A special thanks to you, Professor Luigi Ferrara, Dean of the Center for the Arts, Designs and Information Technology. Ital Florist, who has provided all the beautiful flowers for this evening. Thank you, Esther Paris. Celluloid Dreams, distributors of the film that we'll be watching tonight, Nome di Donna. Thank you to Chantal. And to Ciotoli Law, our presenting sponsor for tonight. Thank you very much, Lou. I'm also delighted to recognize the partnership we have formed for this event. They are Diva Young Women Media's Group, the Village Blog Girls, the After School React Program, Drive Her, University of Guelph Humber, the Women's Law Association of Ontario, and University of Toronto Italian Study. Thank you all so much. At this time, I would like to introduce our very special guest, His Excellency Claudio Taffuri, the Italian ambassador to Canada. Mr. Taffuri has been a friend of ICFF since he took his post in 2017, and we are so pleased to have him here with us tonight. He also always been a true advocate for the advancement of arts and culture, and we admire his dedication to bring Italian, Canadian, closer to the heritage, something we at ICFF are also very passionate about. Thank you for making the journey to Toronto to celebrate with us this evening. Your continued support of our program is sincerely appreciated. A warm welcome to His Excellency Ambassador Claudio Taffuri. Please, Sagana.
Buonasera, grazie. Thank you all. Thank you all. It's a pleasure to have been invited to the 2019 edition of Call of the Shot event and to address such an engaged audience on the occasion of International Women's Day. Before coming here tonight, I was checking some figures about women in the film industry, and I found out that such industry is heavily men-dominated, except in my house. My wife is here. Sorry. Directing, cinematography, and film music composition are the sector which present the lowest level of representation of women. Even though cinematography, with its stacks of camera equipment, traditional being gendered as masculine activity, it is really difficult to accept why it took 90 years for the Academy to nominate the first woman for the Oscar in that category, Rachel Morrison, in this case, in 2017. As it is difficult to understand why only one woman, Catherine Bigelow, with Heart Locker in 2009, has ever won the Oscar as a director. There is sure not the lack of extraordinary women in this field. Jane Campion, Sofia Coppola, Jodie Foster, or my compatriot Lina Vermeulen, just to name few. If then we leave Hollywood and give a look at the festival like Cannes, Berlin, or Venice, numbers do not get more reassuring. We then should also ask ourselves why only 35% of women get the leading role in a movie, and why those same women are substantially paid less than men. According to Forbes, the highest paid actor in 2018 received a salary of almost $70 million US dollars for a single movie, while the highest paid actresses received only 1/3 of this. So not only there is a gender gap issue, but there is also a gender pay gap problem out there. On a more positive note, there are some encouraging findings when we look at female representation among editors, production designers, and producers. Those are fields where we see a more gender-inclusive approach. But there is still a lot to do, and cultural change is much needed at all levels. Therefore, I do believe that the endeavor of ICFF has committed itself with the Call of Shot event is a remarkable one. And I'm very glad of being part of it, of it tonight. On a final and more personal note, let me quote something that was written thousands of years ago that I found appropriate today. Be very careful if you make a woman cry, because God counts her tears. Woman comes from man's rib, not from his feet to be walked on, not from his head to be superior, but from his side to be equal. Little below the arm to be protected, and next to the heart to be loved. Thank you all. Grazie.
Grazie ambasciatore Taffuri di essere arrivato fino a Toronto per questa serata con noi. Thank you so much also the Consul General of Toronto, SGRO, and also the Italian Trade Commissioner here in Toronto, Matteo Picariello. Thank you so much. So, Tonia, we have to start.
Buonasera.
Buonasera.
Okay.
We start?
Si.
Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ICFF, the Italian Contemporary Film Festival's event that this evening wishes to honor and recognize women in the film industry. Happy International Women's Day from myself as well. In celebration of this day and looking forward to a future that recognizes the equality and full humanity of both women and men, we gather this evening for an event conceived and created by the ICFF's own Director of Operations, Mara Cataldi. Thank you, Mara, for having come up with such a brilliant idea.
So this year, as previously, the ICFF commits to promoting the visibility of female-driven cinema in its content and in its production. We will, without hesitation, dedicate ourselves in encouraging the professional development of women in the film industry so that they might assist in the removal of barriers to women accessing and participating in all aspects of the cinematic experience throughout North America.
We will continue to work with our partners and our sponsors in advancing recognition and representation of women throughout this field, while at the same time strengthening our community by captivating and engaging audiences, cultivating new cinephiles, providing educational opportunities, and celebrating our collective humanity through the art of film. The 2018-2019 season proposes to reinforce its already committed mission to build a strong gender-equal community.
So this evening, we propose a discussion with 4 women in the film industry about their personal experiences, their drive to leadership, and their goals for the future. Our question and answer format will allow our guests to address briefly, in particular, their own story, and more generally, the present situation of women in the film industry in Canada, and how young female filmmakers might be encouraged to take more active roles in generating positive change in their communities. Following our panel discussion, Marco Tullio Giordana's film, The Name of a Woman, will be screened.
Despite being very of the moment, Marco Tullio Giordana's The Name of a Woman, Nome di Donna, was in fact conceived over 3 years ago and focuses on the issue of sexual harassment in the workplace. In an era of Me Too and Time's Up, and a renewed awareness of the dignity of women in the face of subversive harassment and discrimination, Giordana's film arrives as a manifesto of rebellion, with a protagonist brought to life by the magnificent Cristiana Capotondi.
So,
there is a common thread of restlessness, an unquiet spirit of curiosity and creativity, of passion and determination in the lives of the women whose stories are told here this evening. At all times and in the face of oppression, ignorance, and the casual hand of fate, women all over the world have found ways and means to tell their stories and to negotiate access to power. May I invite our ladies guests to the stage? Thank you.
during her 21 years as part of the TIFF programming team, Jen Schottel has helped to build TIFF into what is today. She has curated a diverse selection of films from Australia, New Zealand, Israel, and the US. She was the founder and director of the TIFF Kids International Film Festival, created TIFF's Real Comfort program, and co-programmed the contemporary work cinema strand of TIFF's Real Talk series. Most recently, she tirelessly ran the TIFF Talent for the Industry Office, Through her impeccable taste, she brought us and Toronto audience many of the People's Choice Award winners of the festival to the festival. So thank you so much.
Christina Piovesan is a producer as well as the founder and principal of the production company First Generations Film. FGF's first feature film, Amrika, of 2009, premiered at the Sundance Film Festival and won the International Critics Week Award at Cannes. She has produced many critically acclaimed films, her most recent being The Lesser Blessed, which premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival and which was nominated for a Canadian Screen Award for Best Adapted Screenplay. Other films produced by Christina are The Whistleblower, starring Rachel Weisz, Life, starring Robert Pattinson, and Paper Year. She has produced content for music videos, including Reflector by Arcade Fire, and TV shows and documentaries.
So and now Patricia Cuccia is an accomplished Toronto-based set decorator who has worked across Canada. Her unique style and critical eye for design have led to work on some of our favorite films, including Brokeback Mountain, Mean Girls, and recently on the TV series Titans. Her impeccable decor has landed her on the pages of the Set Decor magazine for her work on Brokeback Mountains.
Jennifer Dale is an acclaimed Canadian actress who throughout her long career in the entertainment industry has brought us exquisite film roles in movies such as So You Said Yes and Once a Thief, many TV portrayals in shows such as Saving Hope and What Would Sal Do? I'm especially proud to say that Miss Dale brought the magnificent Duze to the stage, reenacting the great actress Eleonora Duze. It is no wonder, then, that Jennifer Dale, for her body of work, received the Earl Grey Award for Lifetime Achievements in the Canadian entertainment industry.
Serio?
Ladies, we extend a warm welcome to you and we salute you.
So, Jane, you have been involved with programming films from Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Israel, and American independent cinema, and have spoken extensively on the subject of festival strategies for independent films. In the indie sphere, money-making women are emerging in full force with feature films directed by women. For example, Greta Gerwig and their acclaimed Lady Bird. And having a majority of female crew telling women-centric stories. Do you believe that female-driven cinema is more prominent, easier to achieve through independent film rather than large-scale studios type of cinema?
Yes. It's a simple answer, but it's a complicated question. I think things are changing very rapidly in the last couple of years, all of them for the good. I hope my colleagues here agree. You know, the last couple of years, there's been an incredible increase in awareness of the gender disparity in terms of all aspects of film production, but particularly in leadership roles. Historically, this was not always the case. I would say this is because of the changing role of the studio. The studios now are making mostly comic book movies, and women have always had much more success in the independent space. That said, when women did work for studios, they were often punished for failing, and then they were punished for succeeding. I would say the director of Catherine Hardwicke is a particularly good example. After taking the small film, you may have heard of it, it's called Twilight, which went on to make $400 million around the world. She was immediately pulled off the film, and the subsequent incarnations of the film were directed by men. And there are many numerous cases of this. I don't think that happened then, and that was, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I don't think that would happen today. Okay. So I think women have always succeeded better creatively and in all other aspects in an independent space because women are by their nature very, very independent.
Thank you. So as a programmer, do you feel the pressure in today's climate of gender parity, the Me Too movement, to choose films that advocate female-driven cinema in all aspects? And do you feel that perhaps that we are forcing this issue to the forefront without merit, that is quality being sacrificed for the sake of gender parity? Or is this something that is necessary as this time?
Well, you've hit right to the core of the question there, haven't you? Many people feel that because we are all striving to show an equal number of voices, that for some reason this has a reflection on quality, that if we look at the number of films in any given festival, if we push women to the forefront, that we're doing it too soon, and that means their films aren't as good. And I completely dispel this notion completely. We've never had difficulty finding films made by women. What we've had difficulty doing on the festival forefront is finding an equal number, and this is the nature of festivals. The festivals can only show what people make. And so the problem or the challenge is not with festivals, but rather back at the beginning of production. When there is equal opportunity for women to make films, to get financing to films, then they will make an equal number of films, and ergo they will make an equal number of good films. And then we will have parity.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cristina Piovesan. Despite some celebrated names such as Deepa Mehta, Sarah Polley, Patricia Rozema, women still remain sorely underrepresented and limited in Canadian film industries. It's a problem that's not exclusive to Canada. But in 2019, we are definitely building upon critically acclaimed contributions of women in the screen industries. What can be done to ensure that that continues to grow in the future?
So there have been huge initiatives post-Me Too related to financing women. And I recently made Patricia Rozema's film. I produced alongside her a film called Mouthpiece that premiered at TIFF this year. And one of the things that Patricia said when she was asked this question was, it's the first time in her career, and she has quite a long career, that she's actually being invited into the rooms, and she doesn't sort of have to knock on the door and try to break it down. So I think we're in a great opportunity right now where women are being asked about what stories they want to tell, and they're being solicited into the room, and they're on the lists of directors that are being considered both at the independent level and at the studio level, and I think that's very exciting and about time.
Great, thank you. Cristina Piovesan, a nice Northern Italian name. I imagine you have a great job with correcting people on that name. Anyway, Christina, just something a little bit more personal. As you were growing up, what were your first inspirations, your role models perhaps, that encouraged you to enter into the film industry and become a producer, a successful one at that?
Thank you very much. Well, my role models always start with my parents who are here tonight, my mom, Ida, and my father, Giovanni, who I have a younger sister and an older brother, and I never felt the idea of gender bias. I never knew what that was in my house, not amongst my parents nor amongst my siblings. From a professional point of view, when I was 18 years old, I started to watch Fellini. I have no idea why. My folks never really were into like the arts in a meaningful way, although my dad's a very talented writer. But I loved Fellini, and I loved watching the Italian cinema that's so rich. And I actually started film because I wanted to make foreign language film. So the first short film I made was in Korean. The second film was in Arabic. And I just really love foreign language cinema that really started with a love of Italian cinema.
Wonderful, thank you.
So now we are talking about Patricia Cuccia. Our mandate and mission here at ICFF is not only to inspire women to undertake jobs within the film industry traditionally held by men, but also to educate men as the competence and strengths of women. You are in the department head within the field of set decoration. Tell us about your experience dealing with men and the women you have worked with. What were the challenges for you as a female department head?
As a female department head, usually my job is to do the creative work, but also I'm responsible for my crew and the work that they do. I have experienced men who are not comfortable working with women as bosses, and it's unfortunate. It's challenging for me, and usually I hope that when they work with myself and my crew, they'll come away with a good experience and maybe can change their attitude a little. Change takes time. We have, over the years, I have a crew that I've been working with for a long time, and I treat them with a great deal of respect and sensitivity, and I expect the same. I hope that when I work with the men that they pick up on that, and maybe they'll take it away with them. I no longer have, I'm in a union. We no longer have seniority. So it's not as likely that I'm going to work with the difficult ones, but it still happens. And I think that we can just hope that people working together and maybe inspiring each other as a leader, if they see the way that I treat my crew equally, maybe it'll brush off on the others.
So I imagine that you have found many positive changes in the workplace environment in the last few years. Is this correct or not?
Yes, many. My department, for instance, set decoration department, we have a great deal of women in the department. Many set decorators, buyers, on-set dressers, set dressers, and also I'm seeing at the helm of films, like people like Christina producing, and directors that are women, bringing on more cinematographers, production designers, and first assistant directors that are women, and then it filters down. So women hiring women. When I got into the industry 25 years ago, it was a real boys' club, and that's changed a lot. You'll see a lot of women on the crew. I think that I'm also seeing the boys that are coming, or the men that are coming into the film industry, because they've grown up with women, surrounded by women who are feminists, So, their mothers, their fathers too. There's a real refreshing change of how they treat the women in the department, and I see it all the time. I mean, we have, my department especially, we are men and women working together. We get along really well, and I do see that, I think that we will see a lot more of equal numbers of men and women in the industry for sure. And I encourage any women, if you're out there and you're thinking about joining the industry and you hear about set dressing, it's a very physical, it can be set dressing, a physical job, but it's fun and hard work, and you can learn so much, and don't be afraid of it, and don't be afraid of working with the guys, because I think that most of them now are pretty great.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's very encouraging. Thank you, Patricia. Jennifer Dale, you received notable accolades for your work over the years, and now more recently also for Into Invisible Light, which you also co-wrote with Sheila Carter. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the ICFF will be screening Into Invisible Light for this year's festival, 2019 ICFF Festival in June. So we will be seeing Jennifer on the screen and applauding her. In an industry notorious with large gaps of gender parity, at least traditionally, and you can tell us if that has changed in the recent years, as we've heard from the other ladies, do you believe that a film industry that hires more female directors, and Patricia touched on that, would make it easier and for a more inclusive experience for female actors and behind the scenes female film crews?
Well, I certainly hope so. If I may speak to the great change that I see going on. In December, my film Into Invisible Light premiered at the Whistler Film Festival, where I was also on a jury for choosing the best Canadian feature. In that festival, there were 20 Canadian films that I watched, and 11 of them were directed by women.
Wow.
And they were all great films, and it was a very young woman from Quebec who won that award for the Borsos Prize. And since making that film, I have begun development on another feature, which is also the story of a pioneering woman in the film industry, Florence Lawrence, who was the first movie star in the world, pre-Mary Pickford, and she happens to have been a Canadian, born in Hamilton, Ontario. But what I want to share with you is that I've been looking for a female director for that film for a year and a half. I have spoken to 24 different women. They're all busy. They are working. They have their own projects, and they have so much hope and expectation right now of being able to get their projects made, because all of our funding bodies, all of our networks, all of the production companies are committed to gender parity. So I'm really excited about looking forward to all of the films that these women are going to be making, that we're going to be seeing from the female eye and having their point of view. And I think we're just getting started, and I don't think we've seen anything yet.
So gratifying. Wonderful. Thank you. Jennifer, in the film Into Invisible Light, reviews describe you as a superb Jennifer Dale, giving a powerful and nuanced performance. It is especially important to us, an Italian film festival, to tell you how proud we are of you, an Italian Canadian. And in that light, what does it mean to you to have reached success in the film industry as an Italian Canadian?
Oh, well, you know, I was obsessed with Eleonora Duse for many, many years. And so it was because, you know, when I was growing up as an Italian, my real name is Cerlawini, but I came into the industry when I was 9 years old, and my first agent told my beautiful mom, Mrs. Cerlawini, that nobody could pronounce our name or spell it, and so we had to change it. but I study the language. I go every week to the Italian Cultural Institute and spend 2.5 hours with a group of ladies who are lifers learning Italian. It's very important to me to be an Italian, and I've only ever had the opportunity in the Duze play to explore that, and in a short film that I made about Duze also.
Thank you. She's wonderful, Duze.
So now is time to introduce someone who is very special to our organization. 8 years ago, we brainstormed and worked together to find a way not only to maintain and strengthen the value of Italian art and culture, but also to promote even more it into the multicultural mosaic of Canada, especially in Ontario. Michael was thinking to an Italian Heritage Month. On our end, we took the decision to found the Italian Contemporary Film Festival as a centerpiece for this month-long celebration. Today, we can see the positive results of these efforts. Italian Heritage Month has become recognized nationally, and the ICFF has grown to reach not only the Italian community, but also many cultures across the country. I want to thank you, Michael, for all this hard work and joining us tonight during this very important event honoring women. Please helping me to welcoming the Honorable Michael Tibollo, MPP Vaughan Woodbridge, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport. Thank you.
Thank you, Cristiano, for those kind words, and congratulations and happy International Women's Day. It's an important day for all of us, and on behalf of the Government of Ontario, I'd like to wish all of you a fabulous day, and thank you for all the contributions that you do and bring to the province of Ontario and the changes that you bring in the world. You know, the legislature used to be a room full of men. Now there are more women that represent people in the province of Ontario than there are men, and it's fantastic because they bring great ideas to the table, and I love being surrounded by intelligent people that have love and passion for what they do. I always use the words amore, passione, that truly inspire us to do more and work together. So it's truly an honor to be here. The ICFF is a very, very important part of Italian Heritage Month. It's actually outgrown Italian Heritage Month with all the work and dedication of Maurizio and Cristiano and the great team that you've assembled. And I'd like to congratulate all the women as well that are making films and producing films in the province. We invest as a province over $500 million to generate more film and bring more films to the province. And I can tell you, you'll all be pleased when the budget announces what we're going to announce, because we're open for business and we're open for the movie industry. And you'll see we're going to do more and more. You know, I'm proud that Netflix took up the offer to come to Ontario and produce. We've actually run out of studio space, and we're looking to build another 1 million square feet. So we are going to open the business to bring even more production, and I'm challenging the Italians, the South Asians, and all communities to bring crews and to bring the ideas from different countries and produce them here in the beautiful province of Ontario. Thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words. God bless you all. Continue the work that you're doing, and we're your partners. So if you need anything, please reach out to me as the Minister of Culture and Tourism and Sport. Thank you.
So we are very happy about this increase in the industry. We are going to dedicate a day of the festival at the Industry Day in June. As our time is running out this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and our film is about to begin, allow me to thank all the panelists. Thank you so much for their eager participation, for the insights and information, and above all, for their example. Thank you so much.
Let us not restrict our appreciation of women and their influence to one day a year. Let us be inspired by amazing women in all fields like these women, like the heroines in film, like Nina in The Name of a Woman. Let us be inspired to change society so that it recognizes the equality and full humanity of both men and women. Happy International Women's Day. Good night.